How's it going? Hopefully, everyone's having an awesome day. It is Thursday, September the 20th, and I'm going to do talking about Joe Biden's impeachment inquiry. I know some people say that this is just a sham, that there's nothing there. Others say that it's not moving fast enough. And honestly, I'm just here with the popcorn. I don't know if there's a smoking gun to actually impeach Joe Biden, but there really wasn't a smoking gun to impeach Donald Trump either. With that being said, I'm going to one of my favorite websites, ground.news. House GOP impeachment witness says there's no evidence yet that Joe Biden committed a crime. I do believe that Biden is guilty. They just haven't found the evidence. And sometimes you probably won't find the evidence until after they move on. Let's put it that way. Constitutional law expert Jonathan Turley doubts that there's enough evidence to impeach President Joe Biden, but he believes that the impeachment inquiry itself is warranted. Turley stated on the House Oversight Committee that the impeachment probe into Biden's alleged financial misconduct is necessary to answer troubling questions about corruption. He emphasized that inefficient evidence at the start of a probe is common in presidential impeachments. Turley also noted that bank records collected by the Republicans do not show any financial benefit to President Biden. It would be in, let's see here, what's the comparison? Oh, left-leaning sources focus on the lack of hard evidence for impeachable offenses regarding President Biden and his son's overseas businesses. Well, you had Rep. Adam Lying Schiff lying about a phone call, which Trump was impeached on. You had the dossier, the Steele dossier, which was bogus, that wasted a lot of resources. So, I mean, it's not just the right going after Joe Biden. The left also went after Donald Trump. Center-leaning sources questions the basis of the impeachment against President Biden and highlights unsaturated claims of abuse of power. Right-leaning sources believe that it's premature to impeach President Biden, but advocate for the continued investigations into Hunter Biden's activities. The whole point of an inquiry is to get answers. Whether or not they find those answers is kind of irrelevant in my opinion, as long as those answers get, or those questions get answered, or that we find those answers. Whether it finds out that Joe Biden is the cleanest person in D.C. or the most corrupt person in D.C. or somewhere in between, that is the only thing that should matter. But according to The Hill, which is biased as center, according to Ground News, GOP witness says the current evidence does not support Biden impeachment, but we mentioned that it does at least warrant an inquiry. Some Republicans invited witness as the GOP first impeachment inquiry hearing cast doubt on whether there's enough evidence to support an impeachment of President Biden. Jonathan Turley, a go-to witness for conservatives in Congress, at one point told lawmakers that some of the details that they gathered really do gravitate in the favor of the president. I do not believe that the current evidence would support articles of impeachment. That is something that an inquiry has to establish, he said, but I also believe that the House has passed a threshold for an impeachment inquiry into the conduct of President Biden. So he's pretty much saying that right now, as the evidence stands, there's no case against Joe Biden. But you do have enough evidence to look into it further. That's how I'm reading it. At another point, when asked to weigh in about the GOP claims that Hunter Biden was engaged to influence peddling, Turley said that the Congress has failed to do the needed work to connect it to President Biden. I think that's what a lot of people are waiting for. They're waiting for the link. And I don't know if there is going to be a link that's going to be found other than the last name. The key here is that the committee has to drill down onto whether they can establish a linkage with the influence peddling, which is formed of a corruption in the president, whether he had knowledge or whether he participated, whether he encouraged it. We simply do not know. We don't even know if that was an illusion or not. But if you can't find the answers to that, Turley said, without any type of nexus, then no, I don't. He added in response to whether he would back a vote to impeach President Biden. Later in the hearing, Rep. Jared Moskowitz repeated a portion of Turley's testimony by saying, "Boy, was that awkward." I mean, this is why we have inquiries. And this is a really short article. Let's see here. I know there's going to be. Really? No Fox? No Fox. I mean, there's this Fox. So we'll go ahead and skim through this. Let's see here. Yeah, nothing really stands out. Let's see here. Like I said, this is just posted by Adam Shaw. This is just an outline, I should say. Fast facts: House Republicans will hold the first impeachment inquiry hearing into President Biden Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern, according to the Office Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, Republican from Kentucky. The hearing will examine the value of the impeachment inquiry and will present all evidence to date to uncover by the committee in its investigation into Biden's family finances. Witness to testify at the hearing includes Bruce Dablowski, a forensic accountant with decades of experience in finance investigations and consulting, and who the committee says has testified in over 80 trials, including the trials that involve financial fraud. Former Assistant Attorney General Eileen O'Connor, who served in the U.S. Department of Justice Tax Division, a law professor, John Turley, who testified at the Clinton and Trump's impeachment, will also testify. President Biden has denied any involvement in his son's Hunter business dealing. The White House dismissed today as a hearing as evidence-free probe and a political stunt. Let's see here, Chairman. All right. Chairman conducted his remark hearing outlining the investigation in the marathon hearing. Let's see, where does that go? Oh, that's the classified records. Let's see. The bottom line: the committee has shown Biden alone brought in over $15 million of foreign influence peddling, over $24 million if you account for their associate earning from schemes. We have established that the first phase of the investigation, where the money has come from Ukraine, Romania, Russia, Kazakhstan, China, it did not come from selling anything legitimate. It largely went unreported to the IRS and was funneled through shell companies, third parties, to hide Biden's fingerprints, he said. This deserves investigation. This deserves accountability. American people expect this committee to investigate public corruption. Unfortunately, people on the right says that you're not moving fast enough. People on the left is going to say this is a political stunt to tarnish the great name of Joe Biden. And there's going to be people like me who's more towards the right, but still wants to make sure that this is done properly, to make sure that if he is indeed corrupt, you have to have the evidence to back that up. And I don't think there is. I think there's enough evidence for a RICO case. If you had a crafty lawyer can present that case. But I don't think that RICO is going to be able to be in play at an impeachment hearing. Let's see here. He then outlines the next step of the committee that will take after the evidence today was presented. Now we know, much as the money goes, Hunter Biden, Haley Biden, James Biden Sarah Biden and other Biden family members and their business entities, what we need to understand is where it goes next. That is the question that this committee to answer, and the evidence supports that next step, he said. Specifically, he says that he will subpoena the bank records of Hunter Biden, James Biden, and their affiliate companies. Let's see here. Democrats slam the House impeachment inquiry as a waste of time. Stop tarnishing the great name of Joe Biden. People elected him to be president. You must respect the elections. How dare you? If you even think about impeaching Joe Biden, you're a threat to their democracy. I'm paraphrasing, of course. Democrats decried the first House Oversight Committee impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden on Thursday as a waste of time and illegitimate as Congress simultaneously raced against the clock to pass a continuing resolution deal to prevent a looming government shutdown before Saturday deadline, although we could all rest assured that those poor Ukrainians will still get the funding while our soldiers do not get paid on time until the government reopens. Your parks will be closed, but parks in Ukraine will be able to be open because we're keeping funding for Ukraine. Sorry, I'm still a little pissed off about that. Republican extremists rearing his ugly head, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffrey. Well, you know, they said Democratic extremist was rearing his ugly head during the 2 impeachments of Donald Trump. So it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. They're wasting our time, the taxpayers' dollars, on a legitimate impeachment inquiry when we're about 48 hours away or so from extreme MAGA Republican government shutdown. Here's the thing is, we don't want to, there's certain Republicans that wants to pay down the debt. You're preventing them from paying down the debt because you want to spend more than $100 freaking billion to a war that we have no involvement in, other than paying them, telling them to fight Russia because we think a weak Russia is a strong America. But yeah, you know, both sides are going to say it's the other side holding up progress. But the thing is, you don't have a consensus. You don't have people that agree on the terms of a bill that wants to be passed. So it's not one particular party. It's not one particular group. It's not MAGA. It's people that are representing their people have concerns. Sure, they may be doing it for selfish reasons, but the people voted for them to be in office to throw wrenches into these spending bills, to make sure that we're at least able to be semi-financially responsible, or the illusion of being fiscally financially responsible. And this is what they're going to focus on, a legitimate impeachment inquiry as opposed to doing the business of the American people. Getting tired of this. You're not doing the American business of the American people. You're doing the business of the elites by sending money to Ukraine, making the United States poorer, having high inflation to where we have to go steal crap just to pay our bills and not arresting those people. Other Democrats follow suit on X, formerly known as Twitter, adding their own criticism of the hearing. Government shuts down in 2 days, and the House Republicans are wasting time today holding a sham impeachment hearing. Stop playing political games. Do your jobs. Fund the government. Rep. Pama J. Powell, Democrat Washington, posted to X. The Congresswoman previously voted to impeach former President Donald Trump in 2021. Is it only okay if you impeach a president, but it's not okay for the GOP to impeach a president, or at least inquire to make sure that he's not committing any crimes? It's part of the checks and balances. Or is it only your way is when it's acceptable because you're doing it for the good reasons? This year, California Democratic Long Beach Mayor Robert Garcia said X, we're going to hit back on every lie and conspiracy theory. Everything I don't agree with is a lie and conspiracy theory. Let's see, we're We're going to push back on the sham impeachment inquiry, Garcia posts Wednesday evening. Texas Democrat Rep. Greg Casar calls the impeachment baseless, just like your policies. You know what's also baseless? How you left Austin, Texas in ruins. Yeah, Greg Casar was a Austin city council member. He defunded the police here in Austin, Texas. My job is to defend the truth while extreme Republicans try to defend Trump through their fact-free inquiry against President Biden, Caesar posted on X. Like you defunded the police department here in Austin. Let's see, how long is this going? It's going on long enough. I could go on longer. But it seems like the House Republicans are doing the checks and balances. I mean, I may not have liked it when it was doing to Donald Trump, and I may like it when they do it to Joe Biden. That is my bias speaking. At least I'm honest about my bias. But it seems like Joe Biden appears to be corrupt. But sounds like a duck, swims like a duck, talks like a duck. It's not a goose. It's most likely a duck. With that being said, leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are. And I do understand that there's no smoking gun, but if you look at all the evidence together, it does not look good for Joe Biden. And I don't know if that's enough to impeach him. That's up to the House, and it's up for the Senate to determine his guilt or innocence. With that being said, that is my video for today, and have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.